Welcome to The Table, the podcast where we share real stories, struggles, and victories as we walk together in faith. This week, we are taking a breath. We are welcoming in spring, and we're just taking a pause from our conversations about relationships to check in with each other, to take just a quick breather to kind of usher in this new season. So join us as we talk about how we're feasting, fellowshipping, and finding forgiveness over the last couple weeks.
Hey, Jenna.
Hi.
We're kind of taking a pause this week, so our listeners might feel that a little bit because that is indeed what's happening. We've both had some crazy week. We just both had spring break. And so instead of jumping into one of our really exciting upcoming conversations, we're just kind of pausing a little bit, just checking in. We're going to talk about what's going on in our life and things that we're learning and growing from. And just have like a little spring pause before we jump into some more conversations with our guest. So how are things going in the Johnson household?
Going well. We just got back from spring break and we're already back into soccer.
Was that hard? I feel like the transition was really hard for me, getting back to like work and school. I can't imagine sports.
Yes, because we still have to do school first.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get school done today, which is taking a little longer than normal, but that's okay. That's what you expect after a week of break and doing nothing. But we're making it, and then their game today got moved up an extra 30 minutes, so that throws things
Oh,
off
good.
too. So good timing on whoever's scheduled. We appreciate you,
Yeah.
soccer coaches. However.
Yeah, those 30 minutes aren't valuable or anything. Like that doesn't change your plans.
Also,
Goodness.
a game on a Monday after spring break. It'll be
Whew.
interesting.
Yeah, we had a field trip form that was due this morning, and the teacher sent out a thing about it. Like, don't forget it's due. And I'm like, oh, I forgot. I don't even know if I can locate that form. And it was just lucky that we got there on time. Okay, so
Yes.
you're gonna have to have some grace for me. All right, let's kind of talk about what we're gonna just start going through the three questions that we ask for guests just to catch up a little bit. Tell me what is something that you've been feasting on during spring break or even before that.
I have been going through the book of James with my church family because that's where my husband is currently preaching through, and I ended up gleaning so much from it that I used it to speak at a women's conference that I was asked to speak at on being steadfast. And James is such a great example and encourages believers to do so. If you have not read the book of James lately, go for it. It's just so encouraging and such a reminder of how to handle trials and how to count all those things as joy. And that's what I've been feasting on. But during spring break, we were able to just rest and be together as a family. And I didn't realize how much you need that to just not have things to do. It's
Yeah.
okay to not have things to do. And in a family of seven, it's really unusual to have nothing to do at any given moment. So last week was
Yeah.
just a good reminder to both my husband and me that it's okay to slow down.
Yeah. James is a relatively short book, right? Like someone could sit down and read it in like 15 or 20 minutes. It would be a good read if they're looking for something.
hmm
I could not agree more that it's so important to just sit down and do nothing. And I think I forget that sometimes, that it's okay to not just fill every single moment of my day. And that's something we did over spring break. Some things that are not productive and just spending time together and enjoying the weather or whatever it was that we had planned for that day was really nice. I am reading through Psalms for this time, like leading up to Easter. And I should probably be embarrassed to say this. Psalms and Proverbs haven't always been my favorite books because there's not a storyline that I can just really follow in those books, but it has been so good reading it through this time, like slowly in chunks. And then knowing like a lot of the Psalms I've been reading were from David. He wrote them and like
Mhm.
thinking about what he was doing in that time when he wrote that, like hiding in a cave or being, chased by people that wanted to kill him, like all the crazy things that happened in David's
Right.
life, and like reading his thoughts and feelings about those has been really sweet over the last little bit. Have you ever read the book Gentle and Lowly?
It's one of Brian's favorites.
Is it really?
Hmm.
Okay, I found it on. My kids have been playing with books. What a weird spring break thing to do, but they've been playing with the bookshelf, and so I was like, oh, I'm gonna read this during spring break, and I have loved it so much. Like thinking about Jesus. If you, as a listener, haven't read it, thinking about Jesus, the book is about Jesus and his character, and he talks about his heart and how he is, and he uses the word gentle and lowly. I'll have to put the scripture in the show notes. It's just been so sweet to, I'm not through it yet, but what a sweet way to think about Jesus when I don't normally think of him as, I don't even know. I think sometimes I think I need to pull myself together. Like he's just constantly disappointed in me because I keep messing this thing up or dropping the ball. And it was really sweet. The last time I read, it was talking about how Jesus, it it fills him for me to come to him when I need help. Like it doesn't make his sacrifice more worth it. But it's like he gets joy from me as his child coming to him when I need help, when I need something, not when I come to him and I'm all, put together, which is rarely. So,
Right.
anyways, that's another thing I've been feasting on. I'm going to share. All right, what about fellowship? You've been with your family for the last week. Where have you found fellowship?
Being with them. They're my favorite people. That sounds silly
Yes.
and it almost makes me emotional. But like I've got kids who are getting older. It goes by
Yeah.
so fast. I'm getting older, but like to watch that Daniel is talking about being almost 17. He's a few weeks away from 17. And just thinking back on when I was 17, like that doesn't seem that far off. Um,
Yeah.
but it really does take you slowing down last week made me realize that this crew that the Lord has blessed me with, he really outdid himself. And he was so good to me to bless me with each one of them and their personalities and their strengths and even their weaknesses. What a gift they are to me. And for the rest of my life, they are going to be my favorite people. And they are the best fellowship that I have. A lot of times we think that we've got to have it in church or with friendships. And really, the Lord has blessed me with what I have right here. My biggest ministry is right within these four walls, or whichever walls we find ourselves in. These are my people. And my goal is to raise them well and train them up in the nurture and the admonition of the Lord. And getting to spend time with them, solely focus on them, which I do that most of the time, if I'm being honest. That's my role as a mom and as a homeschooler. Um, that's what I do a lot of the time. But to just slow down with them and to just see their quirks and to hear their humor and see what they enjoy and to see life through their eyes is really special. And so I've found my fellowship and really learned to appreciate this past week being with them.
I feel like moments like that kind of fuel your spirit too. It's like you have more appreciation for what God has given you, and it so draws you closer to the Lord because you recognize that He's given you those gifts at those
Hmm.
moments.
Yeah.
And it is so different when you're like set away from homeschooling, and I mean, I'm assuming it is for me, and like soccer, when you're not in all of those things, you really do just get to focus on each other and like read that other book 12 times or make a
Right.
thing of, like whatever those random requests are that you're getting, you get to be with them and enjoy those moments.
Right.
And they're going to remember that too, I think.
Right.
Especially your big kids. I know that's really sweet for them to get to be with you.
Mm-hmm. It was.
We did a lot of family stuff, I guess, over the last little bit. I think we've seen just about everyone. So if you're a family or a dear friend of mine and I didn't see you, just ignore me. But we've seen so many of our friends and family over the last week that's just been sweet to get to visit and catch up and have more undivided time. I think my time always feels like, oh, I should be doing this. I need to, like, I want to sit here with you and I want to have this conversation, but I've got to get to the next thing. And to kind of put a pause on all that was really nice
Right.
for me and my family. So I'm definitely grateful for those seasons. Our third question is about forgiveness. What is something that you're needing forgiveness for in the last little bit?
I have been dealing with a sickness, and so I've learned that I'm so impatient, that I want it to end quickly, that I want to be made well immediately. So I've been impatient with the Lord, and sometimes He wants us to slow down, and I haven't accepted that very well. I have on the external. I've tried to keep a smiling face and be fine
Yeah.
for my kids, but I've been in pain, and it's really hard to not just want that to go away. And so I've just been impatient. And so I've had to ask the Lord and my family to forgive me, because this has just been a trying week or so for me personally. But I've also just had to really be okay with being not okay, and to realize that there are just going to be moments like this. There are going to be times that you're in the valley, and even if you want it to be, even if you want to be on the mountain, the Lord has you in the valley for a purpose. And we keep, Brian and I keep asking ourselves, or keep saying aloud to one another, like, what is the Lord wanting us to learn through this? What does He want us to see through this? And we don't have
Mm-hmm.
the answer, and that's frustrating. Um, but then again, it shouldn't be, because the Lord is still faithful and He's still good. And so sometimes I have to just stop and trust that He knows what I'm supposed to have at this time, and He'll heal when it's time.
I know a little bit about what you've experienced over the last little bit, but I think that your kids, I think it all stinks. Like, what can we just say that? It all stinks. Like the timing is terrible. Um, it just stinks. But I think you're probably setting a really good example for your kids because they've been around you this whole time. Like y'all haven't had other things to do. They've only been with you, and so they've watched you and how you've handled this. And then they're probably hearing you and Brian say, like, what are we supposed to learn from this? And what a good example that is to them too, and to the other people that you're around. That like, I can acknowledge that I'm not happy. This isn't fun. I'm not enjoying any of this. But there's something in this for me. Like the Lord really
Right.
does want to teach you something through this. And so I think you're setting an example, intentionally or not, for everybody whose eyes are on you over the last little bit. Because we're all, like you said, we're all going to go through seasons just like this one, where
Mhm.
it stinks. The timing is terrible, and I don't know why this is happening, but there's something in it. The Lord has some kind of purpose for it.
Right.
And it's just hard. It's like you're just trudging through the mud. That's what I think of. It's like one
Exactly.
thing, it's hard. You just keep going, but it's hard
Yeah.
and it takes forever and you don't know where you're going or what the purpose is. But so that's
Yep.
really hard. I can be really impatient too in a different kind of way. I mean, that way, if I was in your situation, probably the same way, but in a different way, I've been impatient because I want things to be how I want them now. Like, I want to be done with the struggle that I'm going through in this area of my life. I just want to be done with it. And I just keep going back to the Lord, and I'll be like, "Hey, could you take care of this?" And then I just pick it right back up and decide I'm going to take care of it on my own. And already this morning, it's I have been awake for only a few hours, and I've already like let my feelings get the best of me in the
Mhm.
situations that I'm dealing with on a daily basis. And it's
Yeah.
so frustrating because now I've got to go back to the Lord and say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you gave me the gift of time away with my family. You've been so good to me. And here I am on day one, and I cannot accept the hard stuff that you have for me in this season. So I definitely am needing forgiveness for that a lot. Before we wrap up, we've been talking about seasons in life, and I think it's interesting. You know, you talked about Brian preaching through James and how, I mean, that's really good timing for
Mhm.
the season that y'all are walking through right now. And I think some of our conversations together have been really season focused and like practical advice. Have you like learned anything new or shifted the way you feel about seasons going through this situation that you're in right now?
I think I've learned that you have to sit through them.
Yeah,
You
can't
just
rush it
have,
out.
you can't speed it up. You can't, and being frustrated with it, isn't doing me any good either. But James has been really good, and the timing is really impeccable for me
Yeah.
personally. But like when he says, my brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing that the trying of your faith works patience. And let patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. So, like, this is a process. This trial, this working of my faith, this trying of my faith will work out patience. I will learn to be patient because of this. And when patience has her perfect work, I'll be perfect and complete, lacking and wanting nothing. And I think it's really easy in seasons to wish them away and ready to move on to the next thing. I think we talked about that not too long ago. It's like you
Yeah.
just want to get out of it. Let's move on to the next, or I want to hurry up and, get to the next thing or the next phase of life or whatever. And I really am learning that you have to sit through some of these. You just do. You just have to sit through them and let the Lord take you through it
Yeah.
and lift you up out of it in His timing. Some of these seasons are great and some are hard, and some seasons last a week and others last months and years, and you just have to count it all joy. My joy is not based on this current circumstance. This current circumstance is hard. I'm not happy about it, but I still should have joy because I have all that I need in Jesus. Period. The joy of the Lord is my strength. It's not what I can handle pain wise. It's not what I can, you know, do on my own. It all comes from the Lord. And I think if we looked at seasons like that and realized that we're going to have to walk through these things, we're going to have to walk. And sometimes we want to run and race out of them, but
Yeah.
sometimes you do have to actively sit and wait and be here. And I think my perspective is slowly changing on that. Do I wish this would end faster? Absolutely. I'd rather move on. I'd rather move on.
Yeah.
But this is temporary. This is not forever. This is a temporary season and it will pass. It's just in the process, I cannot let the pain or I cannot let the circumstance take away my joy in the Lord.
You know, I think anyone going through a difficult season can probably relate to that and be encouraged by that. They don't have to live through the very same thing that you're living through. We're all going through seasons that are really hard at different points in our life, and I think you're right. It's really hard to hold on to that perspective, but if you do, it makes it gets you through. I think it
Yeah.
helps you have something to cling to. And I heard yesterday they were talking about what it looks like to have a relationship with Jesus and what is Christianity, and like they said, there's not a level that you're gonna attain. Like I'm not ever gonna
Right.
get to like level 12 in Christianity and be whoo done. I am a Christian done. It's like a journey and it doesn't ever end. So it never ends. I'm always growing and learning and going through ups and downs as I grow closer to Jesus. So it's hard. There's a lot of hard seasons, but he is our joy for sure.
Yep.
All right, that's it. That's all we got for today. We're going to come back again next week and jump back into our conversations about singleness and relationships and all that. But that's for next week. Thanks for being here, Jenna, and I hope you get to feel it better soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to the table. We hope today's conversation encouraged you as you seek Jesus in the big moments and the little ones. Check out the show notes for any scripture, resources, whatever we talked about today. Feel free to share this episode, leave a comment, ask a question, or share your thoughts with us. Come back and join us again next week. We'll be right here. If you haven't already, go follow or subscribe wherever you listen and find us on socials to catch up if you don't have time to listen throughout the week, or just to find out what all the next episodes are about. Also, we know you have things to say, examples to share, wisdom to give, so look for opportunities this week to share with those around you or even with us. All right, we'll see you next time.